People everywhere, massive corporations, major institutions, even whole governments are suddenly having this light bulb moment about XRP. Meanwhile, the XRP community, we've been screaming this from the rooftops for over a decade. XRP ranks among the most practical cryptocurrencies humans have ever cooked up. Always has been, still is, and let me tell you, for moving money around, it absolutely destroys the competition. The transaction speed is borderline ridiculous. Oh, and the fees? They're so microscopic, you'd need a magnifying glass to care about them. Literally pennies split into tiny pieces. This all traces back to how XRP was architected under the hood. Look, the fact that it solves actual problems in the real world is obviously why everyone from your neighbor to Fortune 500 companies to entire governments is suddenly paying attention to what XRP can do. But there's this one ingredient you absolutely cannot manufacture in a lab or write into code, no matter how shiny and new your cryptocurrency is. Experience. Time in the game. XRP has seen some things. We're talking 13 solid years of operation under its belt, and you know what the report card says? It passes every test. Drop a brand new coin on the market tomorrow, and you're basically gambling. Will hackers tear it apart? Does it have any longevity whatsoever? Can it actually handle growth when things get serious? Or are there catastrophic design flaws lurking underneath that render the entire project worthless? With XRP, though, none of that keeps you up at night. History has already written the answer. It gets the job done. Which brings us to why we're even talking about this today. Take a look at this headline. So Crypto Basic dropped this piece just yesterday. Tuckrium CEO says XRP is a modern Jpmorgan rival. The guy's breaking down XRP itself and also getting into some of the moves Ripple's making with it. Plus, I've rounded up some fresh XRP metrics that are going to blow your mind. These numbers are straight up incredible. I try to loop back and show you these updates whenever something noteworthy pops up. Real quick though, need to put this out there before we jump in. My financial expertise, completely non-existent. I'm not your financial advisor, and whatever I'm about to tell you shouldn't be the reason you hit that buy or sell button on anything. This CEO hasn't shut up about XRP for the entire year of 2025. Seriously, look at what dropped earlier. April 23rd, 2025. Tucrium CEO says we chose XRP because it's the coin with the most utility and true use cases. We're talking about Sal Gilberti, the head honcho at Tucrium. Reporters were hounding him because he just pulled the trigger on launching a 2x leveraged XRP ETF. There's one quote in particular that really says it all. Direct words from the boss himself. Okay, so why am I hammering this point home? Because I need you to understand the caliber of person we're discussing here. This whole XRP thing isn't just our little fan club getting excited. You've got some of the sharpest minds, people who've crushed it in the financial world, and that's Sal's entire pedigree. This CEO came up through the traditional finance machine, the suit and tie banking establishment. And what's his take? XRP is a no-brainer. So this isn't just the two of us losing our minds over digital money tokens. XRP has legitimate reasons to exist. We're vindicated, people. Here's exactly what came out of his mouth. We chose XRP because we believe it's the coin with the most utility. It's not just speculation. It facilitates real transactions. Ripple is a team of true professionals. Those are his exact words. Then things got spicy when he appeared on Bloomberg and someone hit him with the classic pushback. XRP only exists for people to gamble on price movements. He wasn't having it. He fired back saying, "Nope, you've got that completely backwards." And this is the best part. What he brought up next had zero connection to Ripple. He pointed out that real-world assets can be tokenized on the XRP ledger, slashing expenses and cranking up efficiency. This isn't theoretical. It's live right now. And he's absolutely correct. Money market funds have been tokenized there. US government treasuries have been tokenized there too. These aren't play pretend assets. Companies aren't experimenting with this because it's trendy or makes for good PR. The technology fixes legitimate headaches that regular businesses and individuals deal with constantly. Then came the cherry on top. Oh man, you're going to eat this up. Here's what ran on August 1st. So check it out. And this is coming from Bitcoinist, which makes it even better. Tuckrium Fund's CEO reveals XRP Fund is most successful in 16-year history. Okay, so Tuckrium's been doing their thing for a decade and a half plus one. And in all that time, every product they've rolled out, nothing's even come close to how well this XRP ETF has performed. We're talking their absolute peak achievement here. Why is that happening? Simple. Actual human beings want to buy XRP. This isn't manufactured hype. Those bitter Bitcoin maximalists can keep screaming into the void for all I care. The numbers don't lie. Legitimate cash is flooding into this asset. They've got their favorite line they love repeating, "Oh, the XRP army's fake." Just a bunch of automated accounts, they claim. That's honestly one of the weakest arguments floating around, and it falls apart immediately. Because if that were true, who exactly is buying in? Whose dollars are these? Total nonsense when you think about it for 2 seconds. But wait, there's more. Tuckrium's CEO says XRP is a modern Jpmorgan rival. Absolutely spot on. The banking sector, yeah? Here's the interesting twist. XRP doesn't have to destroy banks to be valuable. It can work with them. Think about using XRP as a bridge currency. That's probably the easiest application to wrap your head around. But there's a flip side too. XRP creates opportunities where traditional banking infrastructure becomes optional instead of mandatory. That whole be your own bank slogan that Bitcoin people throw around, it doesn't translate well for Bitcoin except maybe as a wealth storage play. But with XRP, that concept genuinely applies. You could cut ties with traditional banking if you wanted to, getting easier by the day too, particularly as digital wallets stop being this niche tech thing and just become normal infrastructure everywhere, globally. The technology's already there. You can legitimately substitute XRP for conventional currency in real-world scenarios. Multiple pathways exist to accomplish this. Layer 2 tech has basically cracked the code on this stuff by now. Trying to move things around on Bitcoin's ancient blockchain, that's like trying to race a horse and buggy against a sports car. So depending on how you look at it, XRP could absolutely disrupt the banking world, or it could team up with it. What's really going to happen down the line? The banks still standing 5-10 years from now won't look exactly like they do today. They're going to have to transform themselves. Take their old school finance DNA and splice it together with this whole new ecosystem that's forming around decentralized systems and cryptocurrency at large. Maybe they become the go-to place for safeguarding digital assets. Maybe they expand into a dozen other services around crypto storage and management. The playbook for survival has plenty of pages they can flip through if they're willing to read it. Traditional banking's not going extinct anytime soon. But individual banks, absolutely some will go under. The stubborn ones, clinging to 1950s business models, are going to face some brutal headwinds. So the article spells it out like this. XRP is at the center of an effort by fintech giant Ripple to create an ecosystem that rivals top financial institutions like Jpmorgan. To current CEO Sal Gilberti is bullish on Ripple, expressing his confidence in what the XRP ecosystem is building. In a recent interview with top pundit Paul Barron, the CEO boldly claimed that Ripple is on track to compete with the apex companies of the traditional banking system. Before I keep going, see that paused image from the Paul Barron conversation? That's Paul hanging out on the left half, Tuckrium's boss man sitting right there on the other side. I dove into watching the entire thing and holy smokes, total must-watch material. Block out however long it takes if you get a chance. The confidence level this CEO radiates about XRP is through the roof. Not gonna lie, listening to him felt weirdly familiar. Dude channels the same energy I bring when I'm fired up about this stuff. I was like, yes, now you're seeing what's really happening here. Everything's clicking into place. So check this. Gilberti called Ripple a machine and a highly disciplined team focused on driving mainstream adoption of its blockchain-focused payment innovation. Furthermore, he stated the firm is developing technology that would compete with Jpmorgan, an international financial services provider with over $4.6 trillion in assets under management. Jpmorgan offers banking and wealth management services. It also facilitates inter and interborder settlements. Data shows the bank processes nearly $10 trillion in payments daily across over 160 countries. And Ripple wants a share of this impressive volume. Insane numbers, right? This genuinely cracks me up. Ripple's chasing down a national bank charter. They're about to become a legit banking entity. And I'm over here smiling ear to ear because this move is brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Why am I so excited? Well, our community's been connecting these dots for what seems like decades at this point. Forum posts, Twitter threads, video comments, everyone's been predicting this exact scenario. The writing's been on the wall forever, and now we're watching it unfold in real time. So for a massive chunk of you watching right now, this has got to feel like a total I told you so moment with where things are headed. The US has basically flipped to being crypto friendly, and look, the chances of this becoming reality are genuinely strong because you've got government sign-off in play. Anyway, the momentum just keeps building. Notably, Ripple is progressing in this course intentionally, and the 2Cream CEO acknowledged that he noted that this Jpmorgan rivalry will intensify. When a Ripple obtains its banking license, they are going to be incredibly well capitalized. He added, expanding on the impact of the banking charters on Ripple's operation. Notably, the San Francisco-based company filed for a U.S. banking license with the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency in July, as I was just saying a second ago. Once approved, it would grant Ripple the right to provide fiduciary services, including custody of RLUSD stablecoin. Right, so this is literally the trajectory I was breaking down earlier. Banks have to embrace this shift if survival is on their agenda. Obviously, they want to survive, but the million-dollar question becomes, will they be quick enough on their feet to transform? They better be. The winning move is blending the old guard of finance with this whole new crypto ecosystem. That's exactly why down the road, no clue on the specific time frame here, we're going to stop splitting these into separate categories. There won't be this whole traditional finance sits here, crypto sits there division anymore. It'll just be finance, one word, one concept, covering the whole spectrum. But crypto getting fully woven into that fabric, that's a process that needs time to unfold. Moving on, for context, Gilberte's statement follows a question from host Baron, whether Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse's statement on XRP sales settled the market. For example, there have been community concerns over the Ripple team's XRP sales. Some have also highlighted perceived negligence of XRP following recent Ripple expansions. However, Garlinghouse assured that XRP is at the center of Ripple's plans. I've beaten this drum so many times I've lost count. Ripple stands to lose more than anyone if XRP crashes and burns. Believing they've abandoned XRP at this stage, that's just not logical thinking. You know what? That kind of talk mirrors exactly what Bitcoin maximalists throw around. Even discussions about RLUSD gaining mass adoption circle back to one thing. XRP remains the engine driving all of it. This benefits XRP across the board, full stop. Can we please stop panicking over this? Moving forward, the 2Career CEO pointed out something pretty straightforward. Ripple gains nothing from liquidating its XRP reserves. What possible motivation exists for them to sell? He posed that question before emphasizing they're keeping hold of the asset. There you have it. Hold on though, let me clarify something. They do want to sell, they want to lock in profits, but their strategy spans decades, with gradual XRP sales stretched across that timeline. This isn't some secret either. They've stated this publicly multiple times. I've covered it in previous videos. The key difference is they're not looking to carpet bomb the market with sell orders. Their approach involves selling responsibly while capturing real profits along the way, which makes perfect sense. They're actively building products and infrastructure. So there you go. XRP belongs to them. We've understood this arrangement from day one when XRP launched. There's nothing sketchy or unethical happening here. Props to them for executing their plan. He drops this one. However, he does expect some level of sales. Gilbert noted that the Ripple team might sell some of their holdings as the asset appreciates. So the CEO concluded that Garlinghouse's statement that XRP is at the center of Ripple's plan was a modest take. Ripple is at the center of the universe. Look, this is the kind of stuff that gets me pumped up. We're just getting started here. So why am I bringing this up? Because this story deserves some attention. Think about it. It's easy to feel like you're out on an island with your XRP views, right? But guess what? You've got some serious company. I'm talking about people who've been crushing it in finance for 20, 30 years. These folks know their stuff inside and out, and they're backing XRP just like you are. In their eyes, XRP is pretty obviously one of crypto's breakout stars. All right, disclaimer time. Nothing I say here is financial advice. Don't go making buying or selling decisions because some guy on YouTube told you something. That's a recipe for disaster, my friend. I'll see you when the next video drops.